There's a truth that almost nobody has the courage to say. Sometimes the biggest battle isn't against the world, it's keeping faith alive inside. Some days the chosen wake up tired, do everything right, trust in God, and still feel an overwhelming weight. And here's a curious paradox. The stronger your faith, the deeper the difficulties seem to be. But what if this struggle isn't a sign of weakness, but a sign that you're being prepared for victories you can't yet see? Maybe you're experiencing this silence right now, trying to keep faith even without answers, even without feeling anything. And here's a bold statement. Those who have never doubted have never truly had to trust. Today, you're going to understand why the chosen of God go through this kind of internal battle, what God is building in the process, and how to maintain faith in God without breaking inside. Stay with me until the end, because this can completely change how you see your pain. And before continuing, comment below. What has been testing your faith lately? Leave a like if this message already spoke to you, and subscribe to the channel to walk with us on this spiritual awakening. Here, the chosen strengthen faith together. No one sees it, but the chosen wake up every day fighting a silent battle to keep faith alive. On the outside, life goes on. On the inside, the soul negotiates with fatigue, doubt, and fear of not holding on. It's curious how faith in God, when real, doesn't come with applause, but with difficulties that no one notices. Yet something insists on staying alive, like a tiny flame refusing to go out. This is not weakness. It's a sign that God is working where few dare to look. There's a comforting idea that faith is absolute certainty, but the truth is different. Faith is continuing even when everything inside you questions it. The chosen of God learned early that keeping faith doesn't mean the absence of pain, but the presence of decision. Some days prayer comes out short, almost a whisper, yet it still comes out. And this small detail changes everything. After all, faith is not about feeling strong, it's about acting despite the lack of strength. Maybe you've asked yourself why this struggle feels so intense, so personal, almost unfair. But some battles don't come to destroy, they come to awaken something deeper, a true spiritual awakening. The victories born from this process don't appear immediately, they start in the invisible. And it's right here that the path begins to narrow. And the next step in this journey reveals why this pain is not random. There are moments when the chosen of God pray and feel absolutely nothing, and it confuses, exhausts, and hurts. Faith in God is still there, but without the warmth in the heart that used to exist. Yet the person gets up, goes through the day, does what needs to be done, even carrying difficulties that cannot be put into words. God seems silent, and the mind starts asking questions that the heart tries to silence. This is a common phase among the chosen, although few talk about it. On other days, what weighs more is not doubt, but exhaustion. The person believes but is tired, trusts but no longer has answers. Keeping faith at this point becomes an act of silent resistance, almost stubbornness. It's like walking on a foggy road. You can't see the end, but you know stopping isn't an option. And even when everything seems fragile, something inside insists that God is still there, even without visible signs. And then comes the question nobody likes to admit. How many times have you thought about giving up, but something small, almost imperceptible, held you back? That something is no accident. It's faith in God being tested at the deepest level. You haven't lost faith, you are being tested. And this test, though painful, lays the groundwork for understanding why the silence that follows carries a greater purpose than it seems. One of the greatest difficulties for the chosen of God is learning to deal with silence, to pray, to call, to keep faith, and still receive no immediate answers creates deep inner conflict. The mind questions, the heart feels heavy, yet faith in God continues to be exercised even when there are no clear signs. This silence is not abandonment, it's a space where God works beyond human eyes. And hardly anyone is emotionally prepared for this kind of waiting. It's in the hidden that the greatest transformations happen, although it's rarely comfortable. Just like a seed grows under the ground before breaking the surface, The spiritual awakening of the chosen happens while everything seems still. Mature faith is not born in relief, but under pressure, not in comfort, but through difficulties. Many want the victories, but few accept the invisible process that builds them. And this is precisely where God separates those who merely believe from those who truly trust. When the silence stretches on, keeping faith stops being an emotion and becomes a position. It's not about feeling God is near, it's choosing to believe that He is, even when everything seems empty. This phase teaches something essential. Silence is not absence, it's preparation. And those who endure it without giving up inside begin to perceive a subtle danger approaching as hope starts to weaken. There's a type of giving up that makes no noise but causes deep damage. When a person continues living but stops expecting. The chosen may keep working, talking, and smiling while something inside slowly fades. Keeping faith at this stage no longer feels natural, and faith in God becomes just a distant memory. God hasn't left the scene. Hope has just begun to fall silent. Giving up everything is visible. Giving up inside is silent and dangerous. The person still prays but without expectation, still believes but without conviction. And when this happens, pain finds a voice, because faith no longer occupies the space that once protected the soul. Difficulties begin to define mood, decisions, and even the way life is seen. Many chosen of God get lost here, not from lack of faith, but from accumulated emotional wear. The problem isn't fatigue, that's human, but allowing it to turn into internal surrender. When faith weakens, victories seem too distant to justify the effort. Still, this alert isn't meant to condemn, but to awaken, because there's a reason why this battle is so heavy, and understanding it completely changes how we see suffering. Not every fight carries the same weight, and that's no coincidence. The chosen of God often face difficulties that seem disproportionate precisely because they carry something greater inside. Faith in God, when genuine, attracts profound refining processes. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Some battles don't come to those who stay on the surface of life, but to those called to dive deeper. There's an uncomfortable truth few like to hear. Not everyone is tested at this level. Those who live on autopilot rarely face intense inner conflicts because there's little to confront. The chosen experience a constant spiritual awakening where each challenge reveals layers of character, faith, and dependence on God. Difficulties in this context cease to be signs of failure and become indicators of purpose being formed. When this is understood, suffering begins to make sense, not because pain disappears, but because it stops being empty. Victories born from these processes are silent yet lasting. And from this understanding comes an inevitable question. How do you keep faith when everything around seems to push you the other way? This is where practical actions make all the difference. Keeping faith amid difficulties isn't about feeling extraordinary. It's about deciding every day. The chosen of God learn, often through pain, that faith in God isn't a fleeting emotion, it's an internal stance. Some days the heart feels dry, but the decision remains firm. Today, I won't let go. This kind of faith makes no noise but sustains. This is how the greatest victories begin to be built. Quietly, steadily. The second point is simple but often ignored. Isolation weakens. When the chosen withdraw, the mind becomes an open field for fear and doubt. Maintaining faith also involves surrounding yourself with people who remind you who you are when you forget. Sometimes this means listening to an uplifting message, rereading a text that strengthened your faith in God, or talking with someone who has overcome similar battles. God also works through the right connections. Finally, remembering what has already been overcome is a powerful spiritual awakening exercise. Current difficulties try to convince you that nothing has ever worked out. But that's not true. Looking back and recognizing small and large victories rekindles the faith that seemed weak. Writing down achievements, recalling deliverances, and revisiting moments when God sustained you in the past strengthens the decision to continue. And when this awareness sets in, something begins to shift inside, creating space for stronger hope. Amid so many difficulties, it's easy to believe time is passing and nothing is happening. But that perception is deceiving. The chosen of God aren't late. They're being shaped at a pace the human heart doesn't always understand. Faith in God matures when haste gives way to consistency, and each day endured is already a silent step forward. Staying, even tired, is already a profound victory. There's something liberating in understanding that pain has a timeline, but learning remains. Spiritual awakening doesn't happen when everything goes right. It happens when a person decides to keep faith even without visible guarantees. At this point, victories stop being only external results and become internal. More clarity, emotional strength, and trust in God. No one can take that away because it was built in the deepest part of the soul. Maybe you don't yet see change around you, but something has already changed inside, and that's more powerful than it seems. The chosen stay standing not because they are strong, but because they decided to trust. When this awareness settles, a silent courage arises that prepares the ground for the next step. And that step requires a simple yet decisive choice, transforming spectators into active participants in this journey. If this message touched something you've been experiencing, don't keep it to yourself. The chosen of God grow when they share, recognizing that faith in God is strengthened collectively. Comment below, what has been testing your faith today? Naming difficulties is the first step to not being dominated by them. And often, you'll realize you're not alone in this battle. Leaving a like isn't just an automatic gesture. It's a way to support content that helps keep faith alive in difficult times. When you interact, this video reaches more people who also need hope, but don't yet know how to ask for help. God works through simple paths to reach open hearts. And maybe your interaction is exactly the push someone needed to not give up inside. Subscribing to the channel is choosing to walk together. Here, the goal isn't to offer ready-made answers, but to strengthen the faith of those facing real difficulties. The chosen walk together, learning, falling, and getting up until victories are revealed in God's timing. And this journey, when shared, becomes lighter and much stronger. Now that you understand why this internal battle exists, the question is simple but confronting. What will you do with this knowledge? The chosen of God don't win because they never fall, but because they decide to keep faith even when everything says otherwise. Difficulties aren't the end of the story. They're the training ground where faith in God stops being words and becomes daily practice. Applying this begins with small actions. Keep praying even when you don't feel it. Choose not to isolate. Consciously remember past victories. Maybe you don't yet see external change, but you already hold something powerful. Awareness. Awareness that God's silence isn't abandonment, and that this spiritual awakening is forming something stronger inside you. So I challenge you to reflect. If you gave up today, what would die inside you? And if you keep going, even tired, what can be born in a few months? Remaining is already an act of courage that few can sustain. If this message strengthened you, turn it into action now. Subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and keep walking with us. Here, faith isn't romanticized, it's lived in reality. Comment below, what decision will you make starting today to keep faith alive, even amid difficulties? The chosen do not walk alone, and victories come to those who endure.